Welcome to the Hockey Writers Blackhawks Banter, a weekly show with our top Chicago Blackhawks writing crew, bringing you the latest news, rumors, trades, player grades, game results, and much more. From training camp to the playoffs, from Chelsea Dagger to the Madhouse on Madison, our team covers everything that happens with the Hawks. So get comfortable, grab a beverage. It's time for some Blackhawks Banter. Blackhawks Banter.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Blackhawks Banter presented by the Hockey Writers. My name is Greg Boysen. I am your host / ringleader tonight for episode number 48, the Wyatt Kalynuk episode of Blackhawks Banter. Get well soon, pretty please. Hurry home, hurry back. I'm joined tonight by Gail, Kauchak, and Brooke, LoFurno, my partners in crime over at the Hockey Writers. Hello, ladies. Welcome to another fun and exciting week. How are we doing?
We're having girls' night out. We just included you in it.
Hey, I'm honored. Yes,
we're missing. Hair, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we can talk about conditioners and stuff later. We're missing our fourth line mate, Sean. He can't be here this week, but he will be contributing from afar, that's for sure. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of tonight's episode, just a quick mention. If you're watching over on the Hockey Writers YouTube channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything that pops up. Not only our weekly show here at Blackhawks Banter, but we got a lot of great shows across the board. If you're a Red Wings fan, I don't know why you would be, but you'd watch the Grind Line. We also have Union Junction, brand new show, just a couple of weeks old, covering the Blue Jackets, and Saber Scoop is a popular one too. Those undefeated Buffalo Sabres right now. But if you're listening, just an audio version, you can find us and all of our great shows at the Hockey Writers anywhere you get your favorite podcast. Plus, don't forget, follow us on Twitter, each individually. Our names are there on the screen, and the Hockey Writers account as well. Plus, Blackhawks Banter, we have our own Twitter account, THW Blackhawks. So just follow us, subscribe. You'll never miss a thing. This is going to be probably the shortest Blackhawks Banter episode ever because we don't have anything to talk about, right? I mean, everything is just perfect in Blackhawks world right now. No problems, sunshine and lollipops. We'll see you guys next week. No, that's far from the truth. We've got lots to talk about. There's going to be some rants incoming, I think. Maybe not just from me either, but we're going to try. We got a new season, and we're going to try a little bit of a different format here. If you read our preview posts every week, we change things up. Now we're going to do in our previews, each one of us, each 4 members of our writing team is going to bring up a topic we want to discuss, put it in our post, and then when we hit the record buttons here on Monday nights, we're each going to get to expand on what we want to talk about. So we're going to start off with Gail, and your biggest concern after the first week is the line blending woes. We can't seem to get any kind of consistency out there. He even changed them up again today at the morning skate. So, Gail, what is it about Jeremy Colliton and his juggling of the lines that is setting off alarms for you?
Well, I just like to talk about the lines, and so there's some good and some bad. So I just want to kind of give a brief overview. As expected, Jeremy Colliton came up with some pretty decent lines, at least we thought, in the preseason, and that's what he went to bat with the first 3 games, as we all know that those games didn't work out so well. So of course you're going to try to make some adjustments, right? But I'm just a little bit confused about some of his adjustments. First game against Colorado, when they weren't doing so well, he promoted Henrik Borgstrom to the top line with DeBrincat and Kane. Then you have Mackenzie Entwistle promoted from the 4th line to the 3rd line. So you got your greenest guys getting these promotions. So I don't know, it just seemed a little bit weird to me. But then, for consistency's sake, he did go back to the same lines for the most part as he originally had for the second game, except you bring in Adam Gaudette for Ryan Carpenter and Eric Gustafson for Ian Mitchell. Now, I don't think that surprised any of us, right? But then, the 3rd game, they had some crazy combinations as well. At one point, they had Juar Caro up with Taze and Kubalik. And then today, they've got Hagel. Hagel is up on the top line with Kane and Doc. Now, thank goodness, you guys. Let's face it. We all wanted them to put Doc with Kane and DeBrincat. That happened, right? Okay, so we got that going for us. Like I said, some good and some bad. So Kane, but now they've got DeBrincat on the third line with Hagel on the first line. And I don't know, to his credit, okay, Hagel, it's a great opportunity for him, right? But should DeBrincat be on the third line? I just don't know. It's so difficult and it's so hard. They can swap them pretty easily. And you do know that obviously DeBrincat's still going to be on the power play. So I guess, you don't know if it's going to stick and you don't know what's going to work if you don't experiment and if you don't try it out. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe it'll work out. Maybe it won't. But like I said, at least he's trying. They're losing, so you got to do something.
Yeah, it's starting to reek of desperation from Madison Street right now after an 0-3 start, and it's a fine line this time of year from trying to find right combinations or trying to get some chemistry built. And Brooke, I mean, are you okay with using these first couple of games to find these right combinations, or do you want him to kind of stick with a lineup and just build consistency? Because either way, right now they're 0-3. They got to figure out something. What do you think about the lines?
So I kind of talked about this not too long ago in one of my articles about something that bothered me even a couple years ago and last year was about the chemistry aspect, because it seemed like everyone was being moved around the lines and it felt like there was absolutely no area or room for chemistry on this team. And that I think is what has been hurting them a lot. When you look at most NHL teams lineup, most of them are usually kept the same. So I'm leaning more towards I want him to just pick a lane and stick with it, because if you keep moving around people, they're never gonna figure each other's game out. They're never gonna know where each other is on the ice. Like, it's gonna just be sloppy, I think. So I understand that some of the line combinations right now just haven't been working, like the DeBrincat, Johnson, Kane line, as much as I like that one. But at this point, yeah, I'm not really for the blender thing. I want them to create some chemistry. If they can create some chemistry, maybe that might help the game flow better. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of line shuffling at this point. It's 3 games in. Why are you going all weird? I mean, just stick to something. If you're gonna do it, just stick with it.
Yeah, it can be maddening, because if you're switching everything every game this point, it's not a good sign. Like, it's just not. You mentioned Hagel is getting a chance to play with Doc and Kane, and it's good for him. It's a good opportunity personally, and I love Brendan Hagel and what he brings for this team. I just don't think he should ever be on your top line. That's not where he's going to excel. He's so effective on those bottom lines because he's not playing like if he's out there with Doc and King, he's going to be against the other team's best defensive forwards and top pairing defensemen, and that's not putting him in a position to succeed. And that's part of a head coach's job, is put your players in positions to succeed. I don't know if that's the best move. Prove me wrong, please. I mean, I will be all for it, but I just don't see that being a good fit for him. And the way things are going, by the second period, he'll be someplace else anyway. Other roster news that happened earlier today, Mike Hardman, we saw him a little bit at the end of last year. He was recalled from Rockford, and Ian Mitchell was sent down. They like his physicality and size. He's hard to play against. For one thing, I will say, I was at the Ice Hogs Wolves game Saturday night, and Hardman was very impressive. He had a couple assists, but he was very noticeable out there. He just he stuck out. So he had a good game, and listen, whatever. Do what you got to do at this point. You do whatever you can when you're 0-3. So we could probably rant all about this for about another 2 hours, but we're going to try and keep it short. We'll move on to our next topic, which was given to us by Brooke this week. You pointed out the report from Frank Saravalli, the reporter for the dailyfaceoff.com now, that the Blackhawks are trying to move Andrew Shaw's contract. As we learned this offseason, some cap space is a very valuable asset these days. So do you think, Brooke, that this is a move that has to be made, or it's more of a luxury at this point?
Yeah, I do consider it essential, because at this point, I don't think we know what exactly this team is going to be. It's funny, we're 3 games in and we're like, all right, onto the future, throw it all away. But yeah, I do think it's essential. I mean, the Blackhawks signed a lot of big contracts this offseason with Seth Jones and Jake McCabe. And I feel like at this point, if they're out of the playoff picture by the trade deadline, or even if they are, you're going to need that cap space to either improve for next year or improve for a playoff push. So I do think it is essential. It's probably not as dire as it would have been last year, but I still think of it as pretty essential.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. If you can get somebody to take that off of your hands and they can use the LTIR for their space, hey, it's one less headache you got to worry about down the road. Speaking of good old number 65, Andrew Shaw, he made his debut as an in-studio analyst for the Blackhawks TV crew over the weekend. Gail, what did you think of Andrew's job in the studio? Yay, nay, or somewhere in the middle?
Oh my gosh, it was a disaster. I mean, come on. It wasn't good. He's like a deer in the headlights in front of the camera, and he's forgets what to say. At one point, he said the PK instead of the power play. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. And maybe he'll, where is this obnoxious, annoying teammate that everybody with all this spunk and spit and vinegar, that's the Shaw that the fans really want to see. And I don't know what they've done with him, but he's not there. So I don't know. Hopefully, maybe he'll loosen up, lighten up. Give him a couple shots or something before they put him on the air. I don't know, but maybe he'll get a little better. Not so good so far.
Yeah, I didn't see a whole lot of it, but the little bit I caught, it was kind of awkward. But maybe that's not the right environment for him. I think Shaw's the kind of guy that needs to be unscripted, needs to just shoot from the hip, not being reading off a prompter, being told what to say. He needs to but him shooting from the hip might not be good for network television either. So who knows? But hey, let's remember those first couple of times we saw Patrick Sharp in front of the TV cameras, he looked very uncomfortable and stiff, and he's gotten better, and he's actually a really good analyst. So could be just needs a little be more comfortable. He was nervous, I'm sure. So we'll see what happens down the road. A lot of moving parts in that Blackhawks broadcast.
Well, on the other hand, I really did like. I don't know much about Kobe Cohen, but I thought he was really great. A couple times I saw him.
Yeah, I think we're going to get to know him a bit. I think he's going to be doing some play-by-play at some point this year too. Yeah. One of those guys. And speaking of play-by-play, I just want to give a shout out to my buddy Joey Z, who handled the radio call for the Devils and Penguins game. He's our play-by-play guy for the Rockford Ice Hogs and the man of many hats down there. We missed him this weekend in Rockford, but he just killed it in his NHL debut. So just want to give him a quick shout out. And, hopefully that's a voice we hear more often in Chicago. I think he did real good. Our third topic for the night, our next one was put in by Sean, who's not here, but I can read what you said. And this is going to surprise a lot of you. He wanted to talk about the goaltending, which is completely abnormal for our buddy Sean, but goaltenders stick together. So he wanted to let us know that it's not Marc-Andre Fleury's fault. As he said everybody's excited to see what Fleury could bring to the new Blackhawks lineup, fresh off his first ever Vezina win. The level of success he's maintained for nearly 2 decades in this league, including 3 Stanley Cups along the way, created an understandable level of optimism around how he'd impact his third franchise. Of course, his debut against Colorado was one he may want to forget, especially if he can erase those 3 quick goals in the first 10 minutes. Things didn't get much better for him Saturday night, as we all saw. It was pretty ugly. Again, maybe not all his fault, but as Sean says, let's take a step back before we point directly at Fleury for Chicago's failures. Not only was he facing a Stanley Cup favorite in the Avalanche, but their lack of familiarity, given all those new names, didn't help their cause. The speed of the game worked out to Colorado's advantage, given that there is a cohesion that already exists. Add to the fact that Fleury faced 20 shots in the first period alone, and the storyline becomes a little more clear. He did what he could, but simply needs those around him to step up and do their part too. That was given to us by Sean. Obviously, that was written before the Pittsburgh game. So, Gail, What do you think about Marc-Andre Fleury? Do you agree with Sean that he gets a free pass into the play in front of him, improves, or are you a little worried about that start, especially after the little meltdown in the hallway there in Pittsburgh after getting pulled? What do you think?
I gotta say, I feel horrible for Marc-Andre Fleury. I really do. I think he does have to take some responsibility for it. The guffaw behind the net, that really was pretty much his fault. But his teammates are just leaving in front of him, are just leaving him, hanging him out to dry. They've mentioned that. Connor Murphy said it. Patrick Kane said it. He's a professional, and I think that he will bounce back. And I think that he's going to get the net at least a couple times this week, and he's going to show his stuff. But I am sure that there is a part of him that is saying, what the hell did I do coming here to Chicago? And you know what? I think he's probably earned a little bit more respect for one person named Corey Crawford, because I don't know that he's ever had to play behind this kind of a defense. But he's professional. He's going to stick with it. He's going to make it work.
Yeah, let's hope so, because if he's not going to be up to the level we expected him at, it's going to be a really long season. But I agree with you, Gail. I think about 7 minutes into that Colorado game, he was probably thinking, I should have retired when I had that chance. What did I do? But we'll see. His teammates are definitely not helping him out, but at some point he's got to step it up too. But we're 2 starts in, long way to go. Sticking with goaltending, yeah.
Sorry, raise my hand.
No,
I also think that the Penguins game, that was such an emotional thing for him, that homecoming, thinking about being the last time there, seeing all of his old teammates. And I just don't think that I really don't think he was ready to play. It was just a bad emotional, he wasn't ready.
Yeah, well, then maybe we should skip him when we get to Vegas then, if he can't handle that kind of stuff.
We were so excited about that too.
That's probably going to be even more emotional, because he's been to Pittsburgh again since being traded there. So maybe we don't start him in Vegas then, because they'll lose 30-1. Sticking with the goaltending, Brooke, what did you think of Kevin Lankinen's job this weekend? He started the game in New Jersey, made some big saves, got him a point, and then came in the relief after they pulled Fleury and gave up just the 1 goal on 16 shots. What did you think of Lankinen this weekend?
So I'm kind of going to echo what Gail said, because I want to bring up that one of our viewers had tweeted us and said that we need a merch line that says Flower deserves better. And I'm going to say the same thing about Lankinen. Lankinen deserves a lot better too. He was left high and dry last year, and it's the same thing still. But he did good though. So there wasn't really much he could do. I mean, he's still faced with the same issues, but he's good as a backup, and I think we all thought he would be really solid in the backup role this year, and he seems to be kind of living up to that expectation. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next year, because I think where he is now is actually probably where he fits best. But yes, Flower and Lankinen deserve better than this mess, and it's 3 games in. They deserve better.
Hard to argue with that. Hard to argue with that at all. Just a quick sticking with goalies, covering the Ice Hogs this weekend. Malcolm Subban had his first start with the Ice Hogs on Friday at the Grand Rapids Griffins, the Red Wings affiliate, and it wasn't good. He gave up 6 goals on 24 shots. Not what you want to see at the AHL level at a guy like that. So if the Hawks were hoping he can go down to the AHL, get some good starts, and then they can get his trade value up for a team looking for a backup, then that's not off to a good start. Good news is Saturday night, Arvid Soderblom, the rookie from Sweden, was fantastic as the Ice Hogs had a come-from-behind win over the Wolves. He made 40 saves in a 5-3 win, so he's getting the taste of the Blackhawks system already. Stand on your head so we can win. Other notes about that game that is key for possibly Lucas Reichel scored his first professional goal and looked really good doing so. And Alex Nylander had 2 goals against the Wolves on Saturday night, one on a breakaway and the other was an empty netter at the end of the game, but he can take any confidence he can get is good. So 2 goals for Nylander in 2 games. So before I get on to my topic and the rant segment that I keep hearing is becoming more popular each and every week, just give you a quick reminder, if you're watching on YouTube, first of all, thank you. Please hit subscribe so you don't miss anything. And if you're not you only want Blackhawks content, there's plenty of other general shows. You don't have to watch team-specific shows. We have our NHL News and Rumors show that comes out. We have Chicks and Sticks, which is all of our female writers doing a great job on that show. Plus, there's the Prospect Corner, which I'm also involved in, which is we get together and talk about prospects. We did an all Blackhawks episode a couple weeks ago, so find that in the archives if you want more Blackhawks content. And don't forget, follow us all on Twitter to stay up to date. All right, so that's out of the way. Let's get to my topic from the preview post. And it's I'm sounding like a broken record, but we're watching the same thing over and over again. And I should say, I preface this that it's only 3 games into the season, but it's 196 games into the Jeremy Colliton experiment. It's time to pull the plug. It's not working. It's the same freaking thing night in, night out. We've changed players. We've changed players from year to year, and it's the same stuff. Guys like Jake McCabe, who's supposed to be these great defensive defensemen, look like he never played hockey before all of a sudden now. Seth Jones had 1 really good game, 2 not so much. Sure, it can be they're not familiar, but it's the same thing. They're giving up a ton of shots every night. Their offense is non-existent. It's one and done almost every single possession. There's no sustained pressure, no sustained possession. When the Blackhawks were at their best under Joel Quenneville, they excelled at 2 things: defense and puck possession. Under Jeremy Colliton, yes, different rosters, completely different rosters, but they don't do either of those good. They don't play with the puck enough, and they don't play defense enough at 5-on-5. It's the same thing, and everybody's saying the system. I'm starting to think that this magical, so complicated system maybe isn't the problem. I think the problem is that Jeremy Colliton cannot communicate with his players. They can't figure out what the hell he wants. He can't simplify it. I think his brain and his mouth don't work in succinct, and he while he thinks this is how it's going to look and this is how it's going to do, he can't communicate that to his players. I mean, guys like Tyler Johnson today even said in a quote to Mark Lazarus of the Athletic, ended it with, "Hopefully we can translate it this week." What? Like, that's not a good sign right there. These guys look like they're out of place because they have no clue what to do. That's coaching. Maybe it's not the system is super complicated. Maybe it's just not being communicated well enough. So keep it simple. And it's just, I don't know. I'm tired of watching the same thing over and over again. Year 4 into this, enough is enough as far as I'm concerned. Brooke, what's your take after 3 games? Are you throwing in the towel, or do you think that magically they can turn this around under Jeremy Colliton?
I know. I feel like at this point they should make a new Groundhog Day movie where we just keep reliving the same Blackhawk game over and over again. But to be honest, this is kind of hard. In a way, I am kind of throwing in the towel because in a lot of ways I feel like we were expecting this because it's the same coach and the same system. So we kind of figured even with new players, we were probably going to see the exact same thing. So, but I do think there will be improvements. I don't think they're going to be this terrible throughout the whole year. I feel like they have the talent to not do that, but I don't even really know how this gets fixed or addressed, to be honest, because when you watch them, I don't know what the heck is going on out there. I don't know what anyone's doing. Like you just said, we have no clue what we're watching half of the time. We're like all like a deer in the headlights. I don't know how this gets fixed. I don't know if ultimately this is a talent issue. I don't know if that's a problem too. Like you said, the coaching is obviously a problem. But the thing that sticks out to me that I keep thinking in my head is speed, lack of speed. That is evident in 3 games again. That's a problem. So I'm like, again, is it the players? It's a combination of both, maybe. I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't know how this gets fixed, and I don't think it's an easy fix, and that's what makes this very hard.
Yeah, it might be time to get a whole new set of eyes overseeing the whole thing and start from scratch. But they've got their heels dug in right now. Gail, you are our beacon of optimism and hope in these parts. and an avid defender of Coach Colliton the last couple of years. Are you still on board with on the Jeremy Colliton train, or are you starting to think, maybe not so much?
No, I'm not on board.
It's okay. I was gonna say it's okay to criticize him. I don't think he watches our show.
I am not on board. I tried so hard. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt over and over, but I just don't understand how this team can be so bad. I think he's in over in his head, and I don't really think he understands how to change things. So just a tidbit here. I was reading a conversation on Twitter that kind of made sense to me. We know that Kane has stood up and defended Colliton. And it's because they think the game the same way. Granted, he's on offense, not defense, and we know that defense is the real problem. But, they think the game the same way, and they're both really, really smart and have an hockey IQ, high hockey IQ, very analytical, right? Okay, so great. But you have to read the room, and I'm not sure if Colliton can do that. He might really be able to get through to some of those young, really, really talented guys that are like little Patrick Kanes. But that's only like 5% of your hockey team. The rest of them are grinders. The rest of them are more one-dimensional. Nothing against them. That's just the reality. That's the way that it is. So you have to learn how to speak the right language to these guys. And I don't think he knows how to do that, unfortunately. And I really hope I'm wrong, and I really hope that they can turn this around. But if they can't do it soon, then yes, I think a change might need to be in order.
Well, it's a sad day when even Gail is stopping her support of Jeremy Colliton. That's it. Dark days. You've lost Gail. You've lost everybody.
Oh boy.
But you're right. You're 100% right. It just seems for now on the fourth season that he is just trying to make players fit his system as opposed to making a system built around the players he has. It's obvious whatever it is that he wants to do on the ice, he doesn't have the right players for it. So that's when a good coach adjusts and builds his game plan around his team that he has, as opposed to trying to make his players fit a game plan and do things they physically can't do. I think some of these guys, he's asking too much out of them, and it's not going to work. You got to put your players in a position to succeed. He just doesn't do that. Then we're seeing the results again and again and again. So, all right. I've beaten Gail into submission. She is off the Jeremy Colliton train.
Damn it.
Well, that's all right. We'll find other things to disagree on, I'm sure.
Yeah. Guys,
pretty
this
much
is a
everything
very
else.
rare day where they agree.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
take it all in. Enjoy the moment.
Put a gold star on this one. Pin this episode to the top of our board. We're gonna move on to kind of a new segment we have here that a lot of people seem to like, the shootout round. We're just gonna go quick fire, go through some questions real quick, give just a quick 1 or 2 word, 1 sentence answer. Let's give it a whirl here. We're gonna start with this week coming up. The Blackhawks have 3 home games back at the United Center. They play the Islanders later tonight, the Canucks and Red Wings. How many of those 3 games do you think the Blackhawks are going to win, Gail?
I'm going back to my positivity. 2, maybe even a point, another extra point to boot.
Brooke, how many games the Hawks winning this week?
I'm going to say 1, although I'm always wrong. So it's probably going to be 3.
I hope you're
All right. I'm going to say 0, but they're going to get at least 1 point. They're going to get at least 1 game, though, overtime. Hey, until they win a game, I'm just going to think they're going to lose them all. Question number 2, round 2 of the shootout, who will get their first win of the season later on tonight in the home opener, the Blackhawks or the winless Islanders? Brooke, Gail, Brooke, Blackhawks or Islanders?
This is the one game I think they're going to win, Blackhawks.
All righty. Gail.
Yeah, Blackhawk, it's their home opener.
All right. I'm going to go against the grain here. I picked the Islanders to make the Stanley Cup final out of the Eastern Conference. So they got to win a game somewhere. If you can't beat the Blackhawks, well, I'm not liking my pick there. So I'm going with the Islanders. Sticking with this first game on home ice, will the Blackhawks make it to at least the first minute of the game without being down 1-0? Gail.
Yes.
Brooke.
Yes.
All right, I'll say yes, but I think they'll still be down by like 1:05 into the game. I mean,
And that will be an improvement. That would be
it
an
will be
improvement.
baby steps.
Yeah.
Make it to a minute before being down.
Yeah.
Somebody we haven't. No, we're gonna stick with that game. Sorry, I'm gonna end myself. Round 4. Who scores the first goal of tonight's game against the Islanders? Brooke.
Kubalik.
Gail.
Calvin DeHaan, because he's going to make up for that shot that he didn't take when he was wide open in the slot last game, and he's going to be scoring against his old team.
I like it. I'm actually going to say it's Matthew Barzal because the Blackhawks love giving up the first goal of the game. So I think the Islanders score first. I mean, prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong. Until you prove me wrong, that's the way I'm going. Okay, that puts us where we at here. Round number 5 of the shootout. Somebody we didn't talk a lot about, but we may never talk about again. Dylan Strome. Does the poor guy actually play a game this week? Gail.
No.
Brooke.
I'm actually going to say yes. I think it has to be at least one. It's going to be at least one.
I'm going to say yes, too, because for crying out loud, he can't make it any worse. Give the poor kid a shot here. God, I mean, at least get his trade value up.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not the greatest player in the world, but come on, do something different here. All right, last round of the shootout. If the Blackhawks do fire Jeremy Colliton during the season, who do you want to replace him? Brooke, who's your ideal candidate?
I'm sticking with what I said before, which is John Tortorella. I want accountability on this team. I want someone to call out the bullcrap. So John Tortorella, I'm sticking with it.
All right. He's got that cushy ESPN gig now, though. That might be hard to get him away from. Gail, who's your replacement?
Okay, well, since I didn't disagree with Greg this week, I'll have to disagree with Brooke. Anybody but Torts? How about that? I think
why have the tides turned?
Crawford probably would be the best bet. That's probably what they'll do.
Yeah, he's got a Stanley Cup under his resume. It wouldn't be a bad idea. I'm gonna pick the guy I'd like to see is a guy who's going to be in the building with the Islanders, assistant coach Lane Lambert. He's been an assistant with Barry Trotz since his Nashville days. So who better to get this team to play defense than a guy that's learned under Barry Trotz for over a decade? So that would be my guy. He's going to be in the building. Handcuff him to a radiator. Tell Carlton to hit the bricks. Keep him. I like it. All right.
Honestly, any coach.
This is true. I mean,
the Islanders, Vancouver. Stick their coaches in here, just anyone.
With the 3 of us behind a bench.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Can't do any worse.
I said we would hug Fleury after he had that meltdown. I said we would do that. They should send us in there. We could be the voice of reason. Come on.
You bet.
Alrighty, before we get heading out, call it a night on another great episode here. We're gonna just go around the table here and self-promote ourselves, because why the heck not? What are we all working on? Gail, what have you got going on over there on the hockeywriters.com that we can look forward to?
Okay, well, since the season started, I'm doing my best to kind of do a weekly post talking about the games of the week, kind of themes and analysis, that type of thing. So my first one came out on Sunday, the good and the bad of the Blackhawks, and I've gotten a lot of comments already that have said, what good? But there was some good. Okay, so read it and check out the good. And then I've also started a series called Blackhawks Bites, which is really fun. I'm enjoying it. Basically featuring interesting quotes from players, fans, other beat writers.
Brooke, what have you got going on over at the hockeywriters.com we can look forward to?
Okay, so I just released my players who need to make their marks on this season. That was just released 2 days ago. So check that out. And if you guys have followed my work, you guys know I like to do kind of like the more fun charty things, pick out one player, write about him, fun facts, cool things like that, who needs to make their mark, who needs to be on a certain line. I love that stuff. So that should be coming through the season. Awesome. I can't wait for that. As always, you guys can check out every morning. I've got my Today in Hockey History post that goes live every morning. You can find all kinds of fun stuff in there. And our new daily download series we have, trying to get them for all teams. I do the Blackhawks one. That's kind of like your one-stop shopping for all things Blackhawks real quick every morning. Get scores, stats, all the news, highlights, everything you just want. If you just need a quick fix of Blackhawks to know what they're up to, that's where you check out every morning.
And I started my AHL Central coverage again. My first recap post went up today. AHL Central News. You can get caught up on not only the Ice Hogs and the Wolves here in town, but the entire division. There's all kinds of good stuff in there, highlights, news, quotes. And those will be coming out bi-weekly as long as there's midweek games. So keep checking those out. Once again, you can all follow us, individually on Twitter, so you'll never miss anything that we pump out as far as Blackhawks goes over on the hockeywriters.com. And that's going to wrap up this episode, this spirited, we all get along episode of Blackhawks Banter. Thank you guys, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to that YouTube channel or like us wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you guys next week, hopefully with a better outlook on the season. Thanks, Brooke and Gail. We'll see you guys.
Yes.